sausage there.
Oh, yikes.
You got more excited about that than anything.
I did. Yo, I tell you what cards I really, really want. So tell me what cards you really, really want. I'll tell you what cards I really, really want. So tell me what cards you really, really want. I want a grape. I want a vent. I want a garden. I want a tomb. I really, really, really want more shock lands.
That was amazing, Adam. That was Spice Girls.
So stupid.
The Spice Girls Want to Be My Lover. I love that song.
It's
Great choice.
Woo! You're so over the top. Okay, we have to pull back the curtain on this. So I recorded and did the song, and then you could probably hear at the end of that song that Lowery sounds like he's in a cave, like just off in the distance. We probably recorded 5-10 minutes?
It was 7 minutes total.
7 minutes, and then I'm like looking at the audio, and my voice is showing it's really booming, and then Lowery's is just this little thing. So we stopped at the me calling Lowery a dick and drinking a beer, and he was starting to pour that, and I was like, wait a second, we have to listen to this because it looks like there's something off. So apologize.
No. That was my natural reaction, though. So I was trying. That was me being pretty cool about that.
Yeah. That's how it sounded the first time.
And the other thing that we missed is like Adam missed calling us cousins, and then I actually brought it up because I had brought him a Nutter bar and be like, "I'm the best cousin ever," and we lost all of that gold.
you didn't hear me eating it on the air. And that was kind of the point. I was like, oh wait. This isn't. He doesn't sound like he's making any noise. So
I've already cracked the beer at this point. That's how far we are into this.
Yeah. So
you missed that dickhead move. So this is a smoked porter, 2017 from Alaskan Brewing Company. Cheers.
Cheers. This is the first. We haven't even done our intro yet or anything. We're drinking beer. It's funny.
Yeah,
it tastes like kind of a coffee-ish.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I told myself I wasn't going to be drinking a beer tonight because I got to get ink tomorrow. Yeah, so but one beer is fine. We're going to be doing a lot of episodes.
Okay, so this is okay.
Oh wait, let's start this over.
Let's actually do this.
Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith,
and I am Lowery Smith.
We are cousins. So you guys missed this.
And I gave you a Nutter bar. Now we should. Okay, we don't have to replay this whole thing.
No.
This is pretty much like.
But it's crazy. We went 5 minutes before you were just like, forgot.
What's that? Jack Black, Tenacious D. We're like Tenacious D. We're talking about the best episode ever, and we had to delete it all.
The greatest song in the world.
Yeah, we can't even prove it.
Greatest song in the world.
We're just talking about the best episode we've had so far.
Tribute.
Yeah,
this is our tribute.
Maybe that's what we should. Yeah,
that's what it's going to
tribute.
I'm going to write that down. Tribute is the name of this episode. I'll write it down later.
Yeah, you can Twitter us. You can email us.
You're doing the Twitter,
and you can YouTube's us.
Well, what I stated in the
we've already done this. I'm really bored at this point.
If you follow us on Twitter, we did an Insta spec which is a spec of this week as well, but by the time
Adam's cheating at this point. Like he's like, I'm going to insta-spec as much as I can during the week and then just use those for my Smith specs.
But if you
and follow us on Twitter, totally pointless to follow us on Twitter.
Probably going to get like $5 cheaper of this card, so the insta-spec would have really helped here. But by the time this episode comes out, the card might already be $20 at that point.
Yeah.
So anyways, like Lowery said, Twitter, YouTube, and email us. Go for it.
Yeah.
Episode 32 here.
Episode 32. I agree. Our best one yet so far.
I'm just glad we didn't. I'm glad we didn't get halfway through the damn podcast and then realized, oh shit, Lowery's in a cave.
It probably would have made a lot more people happy. Like, oh, I don't have to listen to that jackass half the time. That's how I would have felt.
So we got a lot on this episode. We're gonna finish up with our spoilers. This sucks. We're repeating all this, but you guys don't.
No, this is great. I love repeating myself. Like I read the same book like 5 times in a row. Then I burn it.
Repeat yourself to your wife because she doesn't like to listen to you. No, I'm just kidding. It's more of Cindy does that to me. I have to always go, what?
You're a dickhead.
No, it's just
I just guess.
I do that too, and then all of that like look on my face, like just sitting there. She's like, "You have no idea what I just said, did you?" No. That's
I literally stopped her. I was like, you know what? I wasn't paying attention. Can you repeat that? Because that sounded important. She's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm trying here.
Oh, we're dicks.
All right, what are we talking about here? Again? All right, we're doing spoilers.
Finishing up with what we have: one mythic, quite a few rares, and then.
Do you want to try and do your 3-tooth back? Front porch.
We'll get there. Don't worry about it.
All right.
And then we're getting into Loooore Time with Lyra Smith.
Now it sounds like you're like an outback western riding a horse.
I was trying to go with the gold miner is what I was going with.
Oh, gold
there,
miner? Yeah, a 49er. All right.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
You had a better analogy. You had a better guess last time, but
the voice has changed at this point.
No, that was the same.
No, it was not.
Loooore Time with Lyra.
Yeah, that one looks like you have about to have Tourette's, like you're shaking.
God, you're just offending people left and right. I'm just kidding.
Just saying Tourette's isn't offensive.
Tourette's. Oh my God, I'm offended. I'll have to bleep that out. And then, so after Loooore Time with Lyra, what are we talking about?
Something that doesn't really have. It's just like information that I've been kind of piecing together a little bit, and I watched a video from Alpha Investments, which is kind of a big YouTuber. But I wouldn't even have clicked on it if I hadn't already talked
with your store owner.
Yeah, the store owner that I conversate with occasionally.
It's kind of dealing with the
distribution of product and the Masters
Planeswalkers.
Masterpiece
Planeswalker. Yeah,
Master P. Planeswalkers.
Na.
Oh boy.
And then we finish off the episode with like normal with our specs. This will be our last Smith specs, because after this episode, our next four are going to be discussing all the rotation spec cards. So that's kind of going to be taking the place of this. If there's other specs that happen in between there, like that aren't a part of that, check us out on Twitter, because that's where we'll throw them up there if there's going to be things that are going to be popping sooner rather than later. Because
right now, I mean, it actually, we were planning on doing this anyway, but it works out really well because I'm leaving for 2 weeks. And so, like, the rotation
raid his
part,
house. I'll give you the address.
How about we don't do that? I
mean, you have a babysitter with pit bulls.
I have a large dog. He is a pit bull.
And he has sharks with laser beams.
I'm not like Dr. Evil or anything.
Good job. I wasn't sure you'd get the reference.
Well, yeah, because you got to do it in the voice.
Freaking sharks with laser beams.
Better.
That's good.
Better. It sounded like a 49 or like version.
God. All right.
Shake your head. Sorry. All right. Now we have basically come up to the point where we deleted everything. Yeah. Now this is going to be all new show. All right. Was there anything else we need to repeat? We're good?
No, I think we're spoilers? Good. Yeah. So we'll jump right into spoilers.
Man, that deleted stuff was pretty awesome.
I know. I wish you guys could have heard it. It was pretty amazeballs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad, really.
All right. So why don't we start off with our mythic that we did miss? Can you read it from there?
No, you got to zoom in.
Oh, yeah. I got to get a little zoomed in here. Whoop, whoop.
Zoom.
And then you got to scroll down. There we go. All right.
Mnemonic Betrayal. It's a sorcery, 1 colorless, a blue and a black. Exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. You may cast those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type, and cast those spells. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, return them to the owner's graveyards.
That's
Exile,
pretty sweet.
Mnemonic Betrayal.
That's pretty sweet.
It felt
especially
like
in Commander.
A paragraph that I just read.
Basically, what it comes down to is you exile all opponents' graveyards. You can cast any spells with, you can use any kind of mana.
Yeah.
And then they go back. You can't play lands because it's not. It has to be cast.
Yeah,
so
it has to be
lands
cast.
You won't be able to do.
But
in general, this is a pretty good card for Commander, I would think.
It seems, like this is late game.
Somewhere
in between like 10, 15 land. You spend 3 on this, and then you just go off.
Yeah.
That seems like you're just kind of winning at that point.
# winning. I don't know.
Who did that? Tiger Blood guy? What's his name?
What's his name? Charlie Sheen.
There we go.
Tiger Blood.
It took a while.
I thought you were testing me. I was like, I got it.
Just because I'm a phenomenal genius doesn't remember. I don't remember everything.
God, your head is so big. I'm not talking about the one on your shoulders. Oh, I don't know. All right, now we're gonna move into our rares. This is weird.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure that's against like guy code. You don't talk about another man's.
I thought you were saying Geico. Because it sounded like guy code. Sounded like you said
T-minus like
guy
3
code.
more hours of recording, and we're mumbling and stumbling through this one already. Enjoy.
All right. So the first rare that we did not talk about last week is Dawn of Hope. It is 1 and 1 white enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. You may also tap 3 and 1. You don't need to tap it, but you create a 1/1 white.
3 and 1 white.
Yeah, 3 and 1 white. Sorry. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So there's your life gained and stuff, and you can draw cards. This is pretty sweet enchantment for a 2-drop. I like it a lot.
I feel like this has a lot of value in it, and like it feeds into its own card draw with the lifelinking creature.
Right.
Seems really cool.
Yeah.
And this one you want to Drowned Secrets, enchantment, colorless, blue. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard.
So the interesting thing about this is actually I heard Saffron Olive from Goldfish talking about this and why he thought it was kind of a cool card. I don't think I'll use it this way, but in Standard in general, using Nexus of Fate and having this, you do it to yourself. So you cast Nexus of Fate, you're making yourself discard cards, and then you're shuffling it back in. And so what essentially happens is you have your 4 Nexus of Fates in there, and essentially you start drawing
cards,
milling yourself until that's all you have left is Nexus of Fate. So then you just mill the other person down, and then you finally don't cast a Nexus of Fate.
They draw,
and you say go,
cards.
and then they're dead. So
that seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a lot to make go off, but it was
yeah.
It's your typical Saffron Olive kind of deck that you know he's going to build, and
I hope he does.
Yeah,
I think it'd be entertaining to somehow watch him mill somebody out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, interesting card. I don't think it's amazing necessarily in Commander. I mean, you could use it, but it's specifically blue.
Yeah, and
which is tough.
2 is not a lot. Not doing a lot power there either.
All right, and then we get into our black
operative. Colorless, 2 black. It's a vampire assassin.
Well, you're reading 2 in a row. God, you're such a dick.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
you keep going.
You want to start over?
Blood operative.
3/1 lifelink.
Yeah. You have another beer, you dick?
When blood operative enters the battlefield, you may exile target card from a graveyard. Whenever you surveil, if blood operative is in your graveyard, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return blood operative to your hand.
Be better if it was to the play, I think, but it's interesting. With Surveil, this should be...
Yeah, I mean, I think they made Surveil good enough at this point. I hope that they do a couple more in the 3rd set.
Yeah.
But it seems like it could be very powerful, just being able to get the card back. And it like also that 3 life loss isn't significant since it has the life link. So, seems interesting. Now you got the cool one. What?
Yeah, but then I have to read it. Malsum Secrets? Is that
I think it's Mausoleum.
Oh, that would make sense if I could read. So we got a tutor. It's a pretty sweet tutor. It's 1 and 1 black. Instant. Has Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana costs less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So... it's a specific color, so you're searching for a black. So it's a very dumbed down tutor, but it's still nonetheless an instant bring a creature to your or a black card to your hand.
Yeah. It's an instant speed seems pretty decent. Like I was thinking maybe this is on the similar terms of like maybe like Beseech the Queen, which is like 3 black or like 2 hybrid. It's a sorcery and go search for a card of the amount of lands that you have for a converted mana cost. You can go get a land with that one as well. This you can't. But it's semi-similar when it comes to like a restriction on what you're able to get with this tutor. And so I think it could be decent. Like you could just... maybe if you have 1, you can go and find like a really powerful tutor with this.
Sorry,
Really?
I was distracted. There's a fucking fly flying around here. I was about to kill him while he was talking. Anyways, yes, tutor and thing.
Sometimes. I don't know.
He's right over there now. I want to kill that little bastard. All right. Did we talk about this guy?
We did.
Okay, so we are down to our red. This one was really kind of crazy.
Kind of cool.
This one's yours, bud.
Don't you want 2 in a row?
No, that's all right.
Are you sure? Experimental Frenzy, 3 colorless red enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. Play, not cast. And you can't play cards from your hand. And then you can pay 3 colorless and a red, destroy Experimental Frenzy, so itself.
Yeah, so then you can start playing stuff from your hand again.
Yeah, if you... Because you still get your draw step.
Yep. But as soon as you draw it, you can't play it.
Yeah, I mean, like... It's unique. It's cool. I
Yeah.
feel like this is... I think this is pretty solid for red, like a card
Yeah, definitely.
damage.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. I mean... Your hand, yeah, you can't play that, but you can play a lot more cards by off the top of your library, you know? I mean, if you get a land that's sitting there, boom, that goes into play.
Now, if you
Next
get your
card,
second land,
then you're
that's when
kind of screwed.
stopped.
But if you get an instant spell or a creature or something like that that costs, 1 or 2 or whatever, you can keep doing it until, you're all tapped out or whatever.
Yeah.
But then also... you can stack your deck with stuff that's flashback or jumpstart or something like that. So even if it gets discarded or whatever, not discarded. You don't discard.
There was a top of the deck kind of like deck that I had made, and I had like Oracle of Moldiah in there, and so like you're able to play more lands off of it, which allow you to play more spells off of it. The way I was doing it was like Future Sight and Magus of the Future.
I was going to say Future Sight is a good one
so
for blue.
It's kind of similar in that regard, only not being able to play cards from your hand. But let's say you're like somehow able to like tap a creature and loot it, like draw a card, discard a card if you don't want to have that other land, and you just kind of continue. You're probably going to be low to the ground because you want to play as many cards as you can. If you're ramping hard with it, that can help you out as well.
Well, I mean, if this sits in
it seems kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it sits out in play for a long time, you're going to be discarding. Like,
sure.
Because you're always drawing, and you're going to have a full load of hand. So if the stuff you're discarding you can make use of when it's in your graveyard, that could be a bonus there as well. Or Madness.
Madness could help with that. Potentially, like, if you're not... Or like if you start out with a full hand. In my mind, I want to start this, like, play this after I have most of the cards in my hand gone.
Yeah.
But
then load up your hand and start playing.
I think
the
Adam
top.
number 2 brought up like Jumpstart.
Yeah.
It helps out with this. And so it seems like a really interesting card. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff to kind of work with it.
With red, yeah. Like you said, though, I think...
I mean, since there's not a lot of good red cards, this could be one of them.
Yeah. Well, we went through red and we're like, how many is there in red? Oh, that's for the uncommons. When we get to uncommons, there's like one red. And I was like, typical red. All right, Runaway Steamkin is 1 and 1 red. It's a creature elemental, 1/1. Whenever you cast a red spell, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then you can remove 3 of them and give yourself 3 red mana. So it's a good mana generator if you're casting a lot of red spells. And it also gets big for 2.
Yeah, for 2 mana, I think that's kind of cool. Like being able to go up to it could be a 4/4. Pretty easy in my mind, and then you can just ramp with it if you so chose.
And if you're doing a deck that you're generating 1/1 counters easier, you can go over a 4/4. It just won't gain it anymore if you're able to put more.
Yeah.
And you're able to remove more counters and use more mana
like
for that.
Like Hardened Scales or something like that, just being able to put 2 instead of 1. It could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just think about that. Like, let's say you somehow get like 5 counters on it, or 6 counters on it. You remove 3 and 3 and get 6 red mana.
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
cool.
Anything more than you can do more. It doesn't say you can only have 3 on there. So interesting card.
Hold on.
No, we talked about this guy.
No, yeah, I know.
What?
Well, you can't put like the ability doesn't put 1/1 counters on it.
Right. If you're able to put counters on it,
yeah.
I mean, you could use what's the from the commander set, the green-black partner commander, that when a creature dies with counters on it, you could put... Although that wouldn't work because you're green-black commander, so it's red. But if you are somehow...
so you can throw
good point.
Red partner in
But
there.
so you're playing a lot of counter decks, that's part of your counters. You put a bunch of counters on that when a creature dies, and then boom, you have 6, 9, whatever. So... Next card. This one's pretty interesting.
The giant growths of giant growths.
Giant growths times 3.
Do I got to read it?
Yeah. I mean, that's not the name of it. The people are going to search for it. They're not going to find it. But
I think you should just get it. It's Bounty of Might. 4 colorless, 2 green. It's an instant. Okay, I guess I got to read
giant growth. Giant growth.
Target creature
and then
gains
giant growth
+3/+3 until end of turn. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn.
What's the last one?
And target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So I kind of wish it was just like,
where's the trample? It's like,
3 green?
where's the beef?
I wish it was like 3 green instant.
Oh yeah, because then it really would be
yeah.
giant growth 3 times.
And then like, I think
it's
a
okay.
fine card. 6 is quite a bit,
but 9
potentially giving a creature +9/+9 is something.
Yeah,
It's something.
I dig it.
Pump spells are so powerful.
I'm not going to play with it.
Yeah, I know. But it seems kind of cool.
It's interesting. All right, next card. I think this one's pretty decent too. Pelt Collector. It's 1 for an Elf Warrior, 1/1. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, put a 1/1 counter on him. As long as Pelt Collector has 3 or more counters on it, it has Trample. So that's pretty sweet.
So the bigger it gets, the trample. I like that it adds the trample
after it gets 3.
Yeah. I mean, it is silly if it's a 1/1 with trample. Okay, but yeah, it seems cool. It seems like a lot of work, but through a game could be enough.
Should we just mention there's a card called Vivid Revival? Brings back 3 multicolored cards from your graveyard. Go for it. Next card.
All right. Chamber Sentry, artifact creature construct. Its mana cost is X, which it's basically Sunburst. But Chamber Sentry enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. You can pay X, tap it, remove X 1/1 counters from Chamber Sentry. It deals X damage to any target. And then you can pay 1 of each color of mana, return Chamber Sentry from your graveyard to your hand.
We should just call him this dude.
This dude.
Just return him. I don't know. I'm not particularly fond of this one.
It seems like a bad Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, but gotta tap 5. I mean, you gotta
5
be
to bring it back to your hand. Like, I'd be way cooler if like you could pay 5.
You would be way cooler.
Yeah, of course I would. if I was 5 colors, that'd be pretty sweet.
I'd be way cooler.
But yeah, if you paid 5 different color mana, it came into play with 5 counters on it, you still have to wait a turn to activate the ability.
Tap 5 or whatever.
Yeah, tap
and
5,
remove it.
tap it, remove.
It's not
1.
just tap and remove counters.
That still wouldn't be that good.
Yeah.
And so like returning it to your hand is pretty lame.
Yeah. So we'll just move on to the next card.
Moving on. Do we want to just talk about bad cards? And
yeah.
Like, this could be way better if they just didn't fuck it up.
You want to read this one for me? Or is it fun when I'm
Camaraderie?
reading? God.
That is a real word.
Yeah, it is a real word. Damn it. I'm like thinking it's a made-up word. I'm like, camaraderie. Oh, would have got it if I would have sounded it out.
You don't need that. You have me.
Yeah, you're my sounder outer.
Sounder outer. I'm Lowery Sounder Outer. Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
This is 4, a green, and a white. It's a sorcery. You gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures you control. Creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn.
I think this is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. The bonus 1/1 at the end of turn.
They have a bunch of different varieties on this like whole cast a sorcery of like 5 to 6, which this is, and then draw cards for as many creatures as you have, or some variety or flavor of that. And I really like them adding that in every so often. Because they did that with back, I want to say it was like Fate Reforged, and then like if you draw a card for each creature, and then you gain 4 life for each of them if you have a creature of power like 8 or more. That might be a card. Could be making it up, but they have different flavors of that, and I like that they do that every once in a while.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, we should talk about Atrata.
We forgot
last
to make
week I don't tell my wife, but I made a mistake with
what?
Atrata. Yeah, I don't admit that to her. So, but I had mentioned like using Double Strike to get rid of double up the hit counters. My thinking was that Atrado shuffled away when somebody died, like the player went.
Oh, is that what you were thinking?
That was what I was thinking, because it came at the end after somebody died. But that is not the case. If it hits somebody, you kill a creature, put a hit counter on it, it's exiled, and then right after that, Atrado gets shuffled
or
in.
goes into your
so
command
it's all
zone.
one thing that happens. It's a list of things. And so what I had said does not work. Many people have said it beyond that, and this is actually what I meant, was Strionic Resonator works really well with this.
Oh, that's what you meant. So I should go back to that episode and cut that.
Can you cut that in? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's what
that
Lowery
would be
meant.
Appreciated.
All right. Next card. Oh, our last commander, which is this you and me? You're reading now.
Okay. Tajik, Legion's Edge. It is a colorless red-white legendary creature, human soldier. He's a 3/2 haste with Mentor, and then you prevent all non-combat damage. Combat. I can it.
I can't.
That would be okay. Fuck you. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control, and then it also has red-white. Activated ability. Tajik gains first strike until end of turn.
Man, it's
a whole lot of words that don't do a whole ton, in my opinion.
Disappointing, because I feel like you could do something with the
Tajik.
Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. So, using Pyrohemia or something like that, where you're wiping the board but keeping all your stuff.
Well, Pyrohemia, you would have to deal all the damage at once. So, like,
that's what I'm
Blasphemous
saying.
Axe would
I'm
be
saying
really
that
good.
I'm disappointed it's other creatures you control. I feel like it should be him to really be like, oh, this is a usable commander. And that's kind of, we can kind of say this right now too, is that our spotlight commanders, I wanted to go Boros with this, but their commanders suck.
Mentor's not that good.
And so I wanted to use him, but there's like, I just don't want to build that deck. It's going to be shitty. So actually, Lowery's Spotlight Commander.
Okay, I went with I tinkled on Niv Mizzet. Tinkled. I'm
Yeah,
not super excited about it.
All tinkling. All this is tinkling, and I went with brain farting.
You went with Vraska.
Yeah, so we kind of went off the board with it a little bit, because there really wasn't a lot of stuff, and we're like, well, let's use Vraska as a planeswalker. I mean, as a commander, because you can use those, and it isn't that crazy of a commander. So that's going to be my tinkled on commander or spotlight commander, and we're going to be doing those over the next couple weeks. So, and I think I mentioned it last episode where I was like, I'm not super excited about any of these, and so the cards in this set are good. Yeah, but like the commanders didn't make me go like, I want to build a deck with it. Yeah, because even Niv Mizzet, like, it's so specific with that. Like, there's so many, and he's so hard to get out. So I'll be interested to see. Well, I'll complain about that in episode 34. Yeah, 34, which we will be doing tonight. Yes. Did we get all these? We're good there? Yeah, we did do that. All right, we're good there. Oh, we got the. Oh man, you might have to read these because I'm sideways. All the sideways. I'm upside down and sideways. Okay. I can read a sure and a symbol. Oh, we did talk about that one. I remember that. Okay. Oh, this one I do like a lot though. All right. Connive and concoct. So it's sideways still for me. It's still this not episode is just going to be called like how we can say words. That's really. Remember, we started off really good. And we had to delete that first like 7 minutes. That sucked. It's just throwing us for a loop for the rest of the freaking episode. It's like, damn it. Connive is a sorcery. It is 2 colorless and then 2 black-blue hybrid. Gain control of target creature with power 2 or less. That's pretty meh. I'll reconcoct. Surveil 3. How about you go concoct somewhere else? And well, it's 3 and a blue and a black, and it's Surveil 3, and then you return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So what you can do is put Emrakul into your graveyard, and while this spell, I think this is exactly how it works though. When this spell resolves, Emrakul hasn't been shuffled in yet because you got to wait till the spell's done, and you're able to fully resolve. So then Emrakul goes into your graveyard. Boom, you bring Emrakul into play for 5 mana instead of the whopping 15. right? Emrakul is 15.
Well, I don't know. You're the one that's talking about it.
So
So
it's
you have
pretty.
to surveil Emrakul into the graveyard, which isn't. I mean, again, this is not.
Well, for commander
league.
wise, it's not great, but where people are kind of talking about it is more of
Modern.
modern because you can do that with like put Grizzlebrand or all the tough casting cost creatures. It's funny because you just have your head tilted sideways trying to read all these.
Yeah. Well.
Are you trying to read the next
This
card?
is
Or are
how
you
it was.
still?
Yeah, I'm done.
You're already moving on.
I'm done
All right,
listening to you.
moving on. All right,
Just like you weren't listening to me doing Connive, you're trying to read Concoct so you could do it. Okay, so I'm going to read Expansion. You're going to read Explosion because you're not going to pay attention to me. Is that what's going on?
Go
here?
for it.
All right, Expansion.
If I get time to like turn my head and flip upside down, I can maybe get it.
It's an instant. Expansion is an instant. There's a split card. It is red, blue, colorless. Red, blue, colorless. So it's only 2. Copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Explosion. 2 red, 2 blue.
You didn't get
X.
to let me talk about expansion at all.
Oh, well, I thought we were just kind of running through it. Anyways,
It seems cool. Go on.
I thought we were going to evaluate the whole card afterwards.
We could do that.
Explosion deals X damage to any one target, and then also target player draws X cards. So you're using that X for 2 abilities, which
Did
is...
you say the mana cost there?
Yeah, it said
I
2
wasn't
blue,
paying
2 red, and an X.
I wasn't paying attention to you.
God, I hate you.
That
Yeah,
is also an instant, which is kind of cool
Yeah.
as well.
so...
It's a lot of mana, though.
yeah, to do that.
Like
but
2 blue,
the
2
benefit,
red.
if you're able to do that, I mean...
Burn a creature or a player. And
You should
then
have this in your
draw a
Niv
bunch of
Mizzet
cards.
deck because of the casting cost to get your Niv Mizzet out.
Yeah, but my deck kind of tops out at about 7-8 mana. I don't
Okay.
care about anything beyond that.
All right.
And this card would be bad. In
Yeah,
that sense.
no. So then our next split is, what is it?
Find and Finality. So Find is a sorcery, which is green black hybrids. That probably doesn't make sense. I don't know how to say that properly. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. That seems really powerful.
Yeah.
2 target creatures. I'm just going to reread the card. Did you hear that? Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard. to your hand.
Amazing. Finality, 4, black and green. I don't have to do the hybrid. You may put 2 1/1 counters on a creature you control, then all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. So kind of a little
I'm just gonna read.
board
Yeah,
wipe.
it's a nice wrath.
It's a sorcery, by the way, too.
and
Both
so,
of them are
like,
sorceries.
If again, this is probably more like they're trying to have this constructed playable, and so like you can wrath with one of them, and then you can bring 2 of your creatures back if you so choose. Trying to save one.
I like that each one of them has the hybrid as their first
Other
one.
than it when I have to read it.
Well, your next one is a hybrid. Go for it,
We've
Lowery.
already done this one.
Oh, damn it.
Boom.
Damn you,
We
Scuba
got it.
Steve.
All right, that's kind of through the rares at this point.
So now let's jump into our uncommons. Do we get these guys? Oh, yeah, you like this
I
guy.
want to talk about, So, uncommon, which is called Crush Contraband. 3 colorless and a white. This is an instant, and I think this is pretty solid. You get to choose one or both. So it's exile target artifact, exile target enchantment. It's easy, straightforward, great removal with exile.
You know, when
it's
we were
easy.
talking about it beforehand, I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. It's a 4 removal, but I didn't realize it was one or both. So
Yeah, one or
I
both,
do
yeah.
like that. Where
So
you
getting
can,
rid of 2, like, I love the card Hull Breach, which is very similar, but that's a sorcery, doesn't exile. This is probably appropriate at instant for 4 mana. It's a 2
and
for
you
1.
said
get
as
rid of
well. Did you already
gods.
say? Yeah, I was going to say gods
Yeah,
is what you
it
had
gets rid
mentioned
of
before.
Darksteel Forge, all your Dark Steel artifacts. Like, it seems like a solid dang card.
Yeah. I actually like it more that after reading it
convince you?
after actually comprehending what it's saying, I was thinking it was just the one. All right, is that it for white? I think that's it for white.
Well, it is.
1 for white and 1 for red. You'll see in a second. Enhanced Surveillance. I like this card a lot. 1 and 1 blue. Enchantment. You may look at an additional 2 cards each time you surveil. You can exile this, shuffle your graveyard into your library.
I think this makes it into surveil decks.
Yeah.
And I think this makes surveil like really
super good. Yeah, freaking A. I mean,
surveil's already pretty
damn
decent,
good.
and,
Yeah,
like this makes it really good.
Yeah.
So I would get my foils after a while on this one.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. That's it for blue there. We have one more blue, don't we?
Yeah. Nope.
No, I guess
apparently not.
I thought we had more blue. Oh, no, you didn't want to talk about that guy.
We already talked about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving on.
All right.
So Creeping Chill. It's a sorcery, 3 colorless and a black. Creeping Chill deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life. Or, when Creeping Chill is put into your graveyard from your library, you may exile it. If you do, Creeping Chill deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life.
I don't know if I'd add the or in there. I'd say also.
Also, yeah. So, like, you could cast it, and then somehow put it back on top of your library, and then mill it. It's a free spell. I think that's kind of cool to look at. Like, if you're milling yourself, this is solid just to put it in there.
Yeah, because
it might not do enough in Commander, but it seems interesting at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And then are we on Pilfering Imp?
Yep.
Okay. Pilfering Imp, 1 for a 1/1 flyer. 1 and 1 black, tap it, and it's basically a Thoughtseize. Look at target opponent's hand, target opponent reveals their hand, choose a non-land card from it, and that player discards that card. You can only activate this as a sorcery, so you have to do it on your turn.
Which is most activated discard abilities.
Because it's kind of douchey
like
when they're drawing a card and you're like, all right, let me look at your hand and I'm going to discard.
That's how discard should be.
You just
Why does
being
blue get the best discard spell in Vendilion Click? This one I'm super excited for. Uncommon again. Plague Crafter. It's 2 colorless and a black. Human Shaman. 3/2. When Plague Crafter enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card.
Yeah, this just put all the other black, when it comes into play, everybody sacrifices a creature to shame all those ones that do that, because this adds Planeswalker in there. And then if a person doesn't have a freaking Planeswalker,
then they have to discard a card.
They should have like a punishment after that. It should have been like, hey, if you can't discard a card, you lose the game.
Yeah, well, it's just say you're fucked. You have no creatures, no Planeswalkers, and no hand.
You just give up.
Yeah.
Pack your stuff up and go home.
But yeah, this seems like a great card. You'll always have a creature to sacrifice because you played Plague Crafter.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have to discard it. If you don't want to get rid of your Planeswalker, you don't have to. But even, a 3/2 for 3, like this is not bad.
I like it.
And like this is in the line, like you're saying, what was it? There's Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, and then an insect from Return to Ravnica that I can't off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So similar ones like that. Or Innocent Blood, which is a sorcery.
This just to kind of, I think the idea of Veraska, what I'm doing is a lot of ETB, enter the battlefield stuff. And this is going to definitely make its way in there because I'm going to kind of try to control the board by making people sacrifice and get rid of crap. So, just giving you a heads up of what my deck's about, Lowery. Price of Fame, I actually think is a pretty decent card. This is 3 and 1 black instant. It is 2 less if you're targeting a legendary creature. Otherwise, destroy target creature. Also, Surveil 2. This thing does a lot. I mean, and if you're playing it in a Commander deck, potentially you're just targeting Planeswalkers for 2.
You're probably killing somebody's
Planeswalkers, keep saying that. Commanders for 2.
Somebody's commander's dying for 2 and you're surveilling 2.
Yeah.
That seems pretty powerful. And it's an instant, so you can hold that up, and that seems pretty decent. And it just kills any creature if you so chose and have it pay 4, which isn't great.
The greatest, but you're still surveilling
2 is not I think Surveil is really good.
All right, I think that's it for black, right? And then we get into the 1 red, possibly?
Yeah, there was another one, but I do like this one. Electrostatic Field, which is my favorite wall, which is a colorless and a red. It's an 0/4, so Defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Electrostatic Field deals 1 damage to each opponent.
So you don't have to choose the one opponent. It's everybody.
It deals 1. And one thing that I found when I play Spellslinger decks in Commander is that there isn't enough stuff in red-blue to stop aggression early, and so by the time you get going, your really, half your life is gone. This comes down early, helps deal damage with your spell slinging. It does a lot for you in my mind.
And it's a big butt.
Yeah. So he'll survive for
blocking for a little bit.
A lot of the game.
All right. Goblin Crater Maker.
Craft maker.
Craft
I make
maker.
baskets. Fucking
Paper mache.
my mind instantly went to like the Antoine Walker commercial from the Celtics where he's like, I make baskets. And he's like weaving like baskets. I don't know why it went there.
Goblin Craft Maker.
You literally just said Goblin Craft. And I was like, 15-year-old commercial of a nobody. Like, it was an Adidas commercial. Why? Probably.
This guy's pretty decent. He's 1 and 1 red Goblin Warrior 2/2. Tap 1, sacrifice him. Choose 1. Either he deals 2 damage to target creature, or you destroy target colorless non-land permanent. So
any artifact, any Eldrazi, any Karn or Ugin.
Yeah.
As people are like, so much Tron hate. It's like, come on. It's a solid card. I think that's very playable.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's it for red, right? Those were
our... even though we complained about red, I slipped that defender in there.
Yeah. Just slid them in there. And then green, we kind of discussed a couple cards before.
Yeah, not there.
You like this guy,
yeah. So Crawl Harpooner. It's a colorless and a green insect warrior. It has reach. It's a 3/2. So those stats are pretty decent in my mind right there. It has Undergrowth. When Harpooner enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature with flying you don't control. The Harpooner gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Then you may have Harpooner fight that creature.
So potentially kill off a flyer with him. Or he's a 2-drop.
Yeah,
reach.
I mean, if they don't have a flyer, he's 3/2 for 2 with reach.
Yeah,
which isn't bad stats. And then if like have a 1/1 out there, you just kill a creature real quick. If they have a bigger one, you might be able to take down, the vaunted Sarah Angel.
The vaunted Sarah Angel.
Yeah.
All right, then we get into our next one is Sprouting Renewal, 2 and 1 green sorcery. Convoke, choose 1, target creature gets, create, not target creature, create a green 2/2 white elf knight.
Green and white.
Yeah, that's throwing me off because it's like a green card. Elf creature token with vigilance or destroy target artifact or enchantment.
I think that's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah,
and with
you can
creatures,
potentially make it for free.
Again, I think this is a good value card, very similar to the first, the white one that exiles artifacts and enchantments.
Do we want to talk about that one?
No,
I think we're done with artifacts. There weren't very many good artifacts in there. Then we get into our multicolored stuff. You do like that guy.
Was it my turn?
Yep.
All right. Dimir Spybug. It's a blue and a black for a 1/1 insect that's flying, has menace, and then whenever you surveil, put a 1/1 counter on Dimir Spybug. I think it's early benefit for surveil. I think it's solid. I mean, I think there's enough surveil cards to make that an actual
playable
deck.
card. Yeah.
Maybe not an EDH deck yet. But again, I hope we get a little
more
bit more
surveil.
in the next sets.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Join Shields is an expensive heroic intervention. This is 3 green and white instant. Untap all creatures you control. So you get a little benefit with the extra mana cost, but they gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So
I was thinking this. I would love this card. This card would be bonkers if it had Convoke. Because you're tapping down all the creatures
and then
they
untap.
That would be so awesome.
That would be pretty sweet, actually. Is there anything else we wanted in multicolor?
I wanted that one. The one in the middle there. Yeah.
This guy?
Ochran Assassin?
Ochran?
It's an elf assassin.
I'm going to start doing that. I'm not going to know what it is. I'm just going to read what the creature type is.
You can't do that. I enjoy listening to you struggle. I don't enjoy me struggling.
Elf assassin? It does fit. The first word is... what that is elf and elven. I don't know.
I don't think it is. I don't think you know elfin yet.
Elfin?
Elfin. Colorless, a black and a green. Elf Assassin, 1/1 death touch. All creatures able to block Ocarina Assassin, do so. Seems like they put lure on a death touch creature.
Yeah.
I love it. I know it can only kill one creature, but it's whatever creature you want. And then you're able to get your whole gang through if you so chose as well.
So then the last cards we want to jump into, and we'll just kind of talk about them all, is the common, whatchamacallits? Why am I brain farting?
Lolly Lockets. Polly Pocket, but it's Lolly Lockets. It's the Lockets.
Yeah, the Locket. I think these are pretty decent.
I think they're kind of cool, yeah.
So it's all of them. You get your
3 colorless.
3, and you get one of the guilds,
so
whatever.
We'll say Boros Locket, 3
and then
colorless,
you can
taps for a red or a white.
4 of red or white, so you're
Hybrid.
hybrid, and you can tap, sacrifice it, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, drawing 2 cards seems pretty decent.
Late game, when you already are stacked with mana and you need to draw some stuff, boom.
I plan on putting the Izzet Locket in Niv Mizzet. That was the only card that really jumped out at me from this set without having it in my hands. So, I wish I was able to make this a little bit later, have the cards in my hand.
Yeah.
But that's also fine.
So overall, what do you think? That's our set and review.
The last bunch of sets that we've been doing, they've done a really good job with putting out new commanders that people want to build with. This one is kind of lacking. They're either overcosted, like Niv Mizzet or Izanai, or just uninspired like Tajik.
Yeah,
in my mind.
As for the commanders, this is the first one in this year, I guess, when we were with the sets and stuff, that we didn't have a breakout commander that was multiple commanders, So I like the set in general. I love that the Shocklands are back in it.
Mm-hmm. The art is great on those.
Yeah,
I really like
so definitely trying to get a copy of each of those, and maybe trying to pick up some foils of those bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Planeswalkers too in this.
I'm a little more ho-hum. I'm not a huge fan of Vraska.
I think for commander wise, I like them. Not
Vraska
saying
might be a decent value Planeswalker. We'll see how you do. We'll see what happens.
We'll see in a couple of weeks, when probably after you get back from Germany, because there's definitely not going to be able to play those until then.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
But let's jump into Loooore Time with Lowery.
All right. So we are going back to Ravnica for the 3rd time.
Going back to Ravnica.
We shouldn't repeat that. The basics, there's 10 guilds of each 2-colored pairing. It's a city plane. So there's
you
something.
You said city, not shitty.
City. Well, cities are shitty. So there was something that was called the Guild Pack, which kind of kept all of these 10 different guilds in relative power level, in the story wise, close to each other. None of them overtook the others. Now this guild pack was in place for a millennia or whatever, and the originals were it was mass war, everybody's dying, and then all the leaders came together of basically the guilds before they were guilds and said, let's set this piece up. And then ever since prosperity, and we get to the Ravnica that we know. The Dimir at that time is led by Sazdek. I'm definitely butchering that. But
it's close to another word.
Yeah. But nobody else, nobody even really knows that they exist, because they're a spy assassin guild, and so they're supposed to be in secrecy. And what Sazdek does is he sets out to break the guild pack so that they can take over the power. One of the Boros people find out, and they're kind of the police state of Ravnica.
Okay.
So he's going around kind of being the detective, and so he goes around, and all these other people kind of find out that they're doing it. The Grand Arbiter, or Grand Augustine the 4th Arbiter, son of a bitch. He knows it's kind of going on, and he just kind of lets it happen. And how he breaks it is he sets up a paradox, because what happens is this Boros soldier, he's a bad legend from the original Ravnica. I don't even remember his name, but he got a card. But what he does is he eventually stops Sazdak, arrests him, and that creates a paradox which breaks the guild pact. So this guild pact is magical and forces everybody to be of equal power.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's broken, so the paradox is that the Dimir are supposed to do this. And so since the Boros stopped them, it created a paradox upon the guild pact which broke it. It doesn't make a whole ton of sense, but again, this is MTG story, kind of a shit show. So that happens, and then like all hell breaks loose among the guilds. A lot of kind of cool stuff happens that I've forgotten at this point because it's just random. Like there's alliances all over the place. They're all trying to take stuff over, and then nobody's really succeeding.
So just chaos.
Yeah, it's just kind of chaos, and I was just like, I don't want to go through all this shit. So I'll try and post some links that kind of tell different parts of the story a little bit. Most of the info out there is just kind of like, here's what this guild does, and they go through and I was like, I know what they fucking do. I want to know what they did.
Was there one that like prevailed as more of the stronger guild or anything like that?
No. I mean, there was just a bunch of different plots. Like Rakdos came out and fought the experimental Kraj, which Momir Vig and the green-black leader, they like joined together, and then they let that happen. And experimental Kraj was like a very powerful thing. Rakdos came out, got hurt, but beat it, and then he went back to slumber. Niv Mizzet was fighting the Nephilims, which are the 4-color things from Guild Pack, and then, you know, I think he kind of won, but he kind of got hurt and just flew off.
So Niv Mizzet was fighting the Nephilims?
Yeah. Yep. And then
the things that were supposed to be commanders but aren't commanders?
I wish they were commanders. They should just go back, and these are legends.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense not to. What else was there? Yeah, like Tristani was like plotted to be killed by Savra, the black green.
So how does
elf.
this end? Like,
It's a shit show. Everybody's just like they all become like net zeros basically, and they're like, hey, everybody got fought, anybody super powerful goes away, anybody left around, like Momir Vig dies. There's a bunch of people that die off, and then there's more chaos, and then you have Teysa ends up creating like a non-magical guild pack at the end, and then they all go back to being semi-neutral.
so this is all before Guilds of... Well, I mean, not Guild, but this is...
Before Return to Ravnica, this is the storyline in Ravnica, Dissension, and Guild Pack.
Gotcha. So do we know the story from there to here?
So now there's Return to Ravnica, which
we
is like,
really wouldn't get the story until after this is released then, really.
No. This is the second set, or like the second block of Return to Ravnica. We just spoiled Guilds of Ravnica.
Gotcha, yeah.
So Return to Ravnica, again, it's kind of pointless, so I can go over this a lot quicker. So Niv Mizzet has come back.
Why are always the dragons the ones that are supposed to be
because
bad
they're
guys?
around the longest and stuff like that. He's not really the bad guy. There isn't any like good or bad, but he's essentially like leaking this information that there's this really powerful thing that's underneath the city, and he's trying to find it, but everybody knows he's trying to find it, but they don't know what he's trying to find. And then he basically, instead of having mass chaos and bloodshed, he releases the information to everybody when he finds out. Thus, there's the maze where everybody runs the maze, which is Dragon's Maze.
Mm-hmm.
And then they run this maze, and they get to the power source, and then there's like a bailiff that magically, I think, appears, and he's like, this is all chaos. We're going to throw this into disarray. There isn't going to be any real guild pack. So what he was doing was setting it up for everybody to find the guild pack. And Lazav had created chaos and in his treachery.
I knew Lazav was bad.
Yeah, obviously. You can't even see his face through the card. But
is he from Star Wars, or is he... Because he totally looks like...
Oh, he could be... Darth Sidious.
Yeah.
All right. I see what you got going on there. And then Jace kind of like mind controls a bunch of people. Then they look like they're all in cohesion. Then the bailiff's like, oh, you're all getting along. well, that guy seems to be doing it, so you're the new guild pack. So that's why Jace becomes Jace the Living Guild Pack, which is a planeswalker from a core set. Worst Jace to date.
It was awful. A pretty terrible Jace.
And so that tells you how shitty the guild pact is. It made Jace worse. And that's like that's the bare bones of the story. Like, I think Ral becomes the runner for the red blue.
Vraska.
Ral's Zarek. Vraska wasn't. Oh, Vraska was there. I don't remember if she was a runner or not. Jace was a runner for some reason. I don't know. It's pretty hard to like. They have like nobody like condenses it all down, and so I don't care to click through every article.
Yeah, and read
and
everything.
Like who killed who. Like I think Ral Zarek came in and killed Malik, which is like a red blue weird that you could top or play sorceries and instants off the top of your library and it doubles. So that dude's dead. Ral Zarek killed him.
What a douche.
Yeah. Obviously he is. And then so that's basically it. That was pretty easy. Let me see. Violence, power source, legends like Rurik Thor, Jason. Yep, that's basically it. Over 3 sets, that was kind of what happened. Good job, Return to Ravnica. That was basically a money grab. They went back to Ravnica because it was super popular, and they're like, "Why do we go back?" And they're like, "I don't fucking know. They're gonna run a race." And it's like, really? We're gonna have them run a race? It's
going
like,
a maze.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Well, let's make Battle Bond. That's gonna be a game tournament style thing." They're like, "You know what? We tried that with Return to Ravnica, and that story was shitty." And they're like, "No. Who cares about Battle Bond? Nobody cares about that story. Make it." So yeah, that's.
Loooore Time with Lowery.
Well, and then Guilds of Ravnica. Basically, the only thing we know is that the Gatewatch is gearing up for the final showdown with Nicol Bolas. That's about the only thing that I was able to find officially from Wizards.
Okay.
So that's why we're going back. Nicol Bolas kicked the shit out of him in Amonkhet block, and then, Ixalan block, and now we're back fighting Nicol Bolas in. I don't know how they got better. This is turning out to be like the new Star Wars movie. Like, how did they get better within like an hour, a day of? Yeah, all right. I don't want to get into that part. So,
it is a showdown.
So this seems to be the showdown against Nicol Bolas. Vraska is an agent of Bolas. So is Ral Zarek. And technically Liliana is, which you saw some cards from the core set kind of doing that. And so it kind of seems like they're setting up probably 5 of the guilds. So like Izzet and Golgari are on Bolas's side. And then you got to kind of assume that 3 are on Bolas's side in the next set, to whereas there's 3 in this one and 2.
5.
Yeah. That would be my guess.
Okay.
And so I don't know if they're just going to give them 3 more planeswalkers, like for Bolas' side, maybe Tezzeret. No, Tezzeret's black-blue at this point, but, maybe they're throwing him in there a little bit. I don't know. We don't know a whole ton after this, and that's probably why the 3rd set's name hasn't been released.
Yeah.
Because there's, the fall of
they
Nicol
don't
Bolas.
Yeah, they don't want to give it away because it probably has
because I mean the tagline already states gearing up for the final showdown.
Yeah.
So either the Gatewatch dies, which they're not going to do, or Bolas is done.
That sucks.
Yeah. And that's probably why they did like in movies where like the bad guy's about to die, but like setting up for that final confrontation, then they'll do a flashback on his like character development when he was younger. That's kind of what they did with the core set with Nicol Bolas when he was turning.
Yeah.
And so, like, story-wise, this is baby Nicol Bolas flipping into a planeswalker for the first time, and now we're to the final showdown of where he's probably going to die from the Gatewatch. And the Gatewatch has done literally nothing. They should get their shit pushed.
But they're going to somehow pull this off.
But they're going to pull it off, yeah. I did read the story from Hour of Devastation, and Nicol Bolas just destroys them. So it's just kind of like, I have no idea how they're going to, like, survive this? They probably shouldn't.
Question mark?
So, yeah.
All right. That's awesome lore time, Lowery. Let's move into our third segment. We'll have to do this kind of quick-ish.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a whole ton of information. I don't think anybody really does. So starting off with this, I was going to my the card store that I normally go to. I kind of BS around with the owner there, and we were talking about the Masterpiece Planeswalker set. That's $250. Buy it from the Hasbro site. We're kind of talking about it, and he's like, "You know what actually happened? Kind of weird. I was talking with my distributor. He was not surprised by that announcement of the Planeswalker full art stuff being from their website, and he's like, I don't know why." And I don't know what's going on, but he said that their Wizards is doing a change, or Hasbro, or somebody making the decisions for distribution. And he's like, I don't know what's going on, but all I know is my distributor, when his lease is up, he's done.
So he's not renewing his lease, and he said that's in
March? He's
done
distributing. Yeah, I think it was sometime next year. Like, he's just basically, I'm done. There's not going to be any money in it. That's my opinion there.
Mm-hmm.
Conjecture. And so I was kind of poking around for the lore bit, and then there's a YouTuber from Alpha Investments.
And we both watched. You showed me that video.
And I showed it to you right before we started recording here. And like, I would have never clicked on it. I would have been like, whatever the fuck. But it kind of piqued my interest when talking to the card owner, or the store owner that I know. And so it's all about how this guy, Alpha Investments, has talked to a lot of dealers and store owners and stuff like that. So he obviously has a lot more connections. And basically what it came down to was
that they're going to be
trying to do it more, it seems like. Or
what it seemed like he was saying a lot was that they wanted to, what did he call it? He said a set price. They want a set price.
Price fixing.
Price fixing, yeah, because his examples were from Iconic Masters, Iconic, and Masters.
That's my word. You can't take my line.
Masters 25, and how basically those those box sets came out at a certain price. These distributors bought it at that price, but then the only way to move these, they had to drop it
at price or lower.
And so they're kind of, what they're doing is cutting that out. This is a theory, is that they're cutting that out, and they're making the set price. They're not going to drop it below $250. And the only way you're going to get those 8 Commander, or I keep flipping them around.
Yeah,
I'm like Commander Planeswalker. It's the dyslexia attacking. That doesn't do that ever. I don't know. That's just weird that I'm doing that. Yeah. But anyways, so what they're basically doing is the only way you're going to get those is by paying the $250, or by people that pay the $250 selling those off
which means that it's much more rare, because you're not going out and buying it in bulk as much, because you got to almost hope that you're able to move it, because again, like, I'm not going to pay $250 or plus on that, because they're going to try and do more of it.
Yeah.
But like, the video was talking about how, like, they're trying to find, like, Wizards is almost trying to find a balance between, like, when a good set is coming out, like FTV, it's like $35 MSRP. But if it was a good one, it was selling for $80, $90. Now, there's a lot of good money there, but it's kind of feel bads for people buying it. But also, they're trying to get rid of Iconic Masters being sold for $150, and when nobody's making money on that, but it's good for us as the buyer, other than it's a shitty product.
Yeah.
And so instead of Wizards saying, hey, we need to make a better product, they go, hey, we're just going to sell this stuff, make the straight profit, and take that huge variance out. That's what the video kind of insinuate. Like, they straight up kind of say that kind of thing. And it's a 15-minute video. I'll make sure that we link
tag that on there.
And
no, it's interesting.
Really interesting.
From what I got from it, I don't know. I mean, not from what I'm thinking about it, is what if this is more of like they're testing to see if they do their special sets, and this is how they're going to sell it, and not have
like when you're saying special sets, are you just saying like master or like the
right
masterpieces, or are you saying like
no
actual
like iconic masters kind of thing?
Do you think they move into selling Commander product like that?
I don't think so,
That would
because
suck.
Commander freaking sells for whatever they want. I mean, it sells. It doesn't. They don't have to drop the price.
But you
for
get
that.
you get that larger spike though, which they're also trying to take out. So like
Some of them. I mean,
yeah, like
last year's
Atraxa within a month I feel like was going for
2017. You can
double.
still get for pretty cheap for at value for the most part. I
that's
think
because they made their product worse.
no, that was really good with Edgar and everything like that.
Oh, you're saying that one?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess 2017.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a pretty good set there. But they printed so many more of those. You know, I mean, it was.
And again, on Alpha Investments, he states like they have purposely not printed as much of 2018 Commander product, and he is saying that they did the same thing with
Battle Bond.
Battle Bond, and so they're purposely shutting off the gauge so that cards don't tank.
Yeah. Which really, if you look at Battle Bond stuff, I mean, Doubling Season didn't drop that much. But it is also, it's a subset too. I mean, I call them subsets, but if it's not in standard, they don't.
It's supplementary.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes into standard, I think that's where you get the drop.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely can, but like,
I mean,
another
look at
thing that I was talking with.
I was going to get into. I was just going to go into my. It was almost going to go into my spec, but I was going to say go to my spec, for example, this week with Crucible Worlds. That card was $70 before this reprint, and now you can get it down for $15. You know, I mean,
foreshadowing.
Yeah,
for like 3 minutes from now.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, that's what I'm saying. But that's in standard. I mean, that made it tank. Whereas you go Doubling Season was a $50 card, and it's still like a $30 card in Battle Bond, I think, right now.
Okay.
So I haven't checked it either. I checked it a while back.
What do you mean you haven't checked it? It's gonna be fucking spec.
No. Not Doubling Season.
Oh, Doubling Season isn't? No, you're right. Okay. Yada yada. Sorry.
No, I'm very curious what Doubling Season's at.
And it actually is kind of interesting too, because like when I was talking to that store owner.
Oh, Doubling Season's still $40.
Yeah.
So
multiple times before this kind of announcement, this is 3 weeks ago at this point, but he was saying like, I don't know how anybody was making money when you're selling boxes for $85 online. Like, I think they pay like $70, $75 the stores, and then if you're turning around selling them for $80, $85, he's like, there's no point. It's not even worth it. Like, you got to pay shipping.
Yeah.
And then you somehow get it. He's like, making $5 a box is stupid.
Yeah.
But then he was like, but we get hosed on master product because they might make technically $15, $20 more on selling a box, but they sell a lot less of that, and it's double the price for them to buy it. And so they're just like, we don't move as much product. It's a lot tougher, and so the product just kind of sits around. With the like iconic masters, and Masters 25 was what he was talking about specifically, the card store owner. And so it's just kind of interesting. Maybe that's the way that Wizards is trying to fix that.
I'd be interested to see you watch this video after you talk to the store owner.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even clicked on it if I hadn't.
So
talked
I'm
with
curious
the
as
store
if
owner.
you go back to him and talk to him again when the next time you go in and kind of bring up the stuff that you saw there.
Yeah, that'll be like mid to late October.
Okay.
I might tell him to kind of watch it while I'm pillaging.
Yeah.
So.
Are you gonna look at some card stores while you're in Germany? You should check them out.
I don't know if I'm gonna have any time, but yeah, maybe. little Lowery doesn't really let me like
look
stand
at cards.
still very much. Like,
you're
not
little
like,
Lowery,
and he hits me. He's very abusive.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll see what. It'll be interesting to see what plays out.
Where they kind of move forward with the masterpieces of Planewalkers.
Well, because we'll get a subset coming up. I don't know what's gonna be coming up here. Nothing really.
I don't think there is anything.
You don't think it's gonna be something in between? I guess they haven't announced anything.
Well, they're doing the those Ravnica repacks basically.
That's a month later, and those are stupid.
Normally, it's 6 weeks after, like it's in the middle, in between,
right between each.
So that might be what they're trying to do, is have a little
I hope
cheap
that's not
subset
it.
next to it. As far as I know, there isn't anything planned.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. All right, well, let's move into Smith Specs of the Week.
Good job.
Yeah. All right, you start us off here, buddy.
Okay, so
stop drinking your beer and
no, I don't want to. I'm going to go with Lyra Dawnbringer. This is a mythic from Dominaria, a 5/5 flying first strike lifelink. Other angels get +1/+1 and lifelink. And so it's right now it's $13. I believe I likened this to Baneslayer Angel.
This is a Angel Commander right here.
Yeah, and so in my mind, it's legendary. Gets you into white angels. And so in my mind, this is 2.0 Baneslayer Angel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it gets up to $50 like that was, but this has potential to double in price in my mind.
Right. I mean, at one point it was 30, but
for standard. Now, if you start, I make sure that I watch it. I don't think I think it drops down in between 10 to 15 after it rotates out of standard.
But this might come back up again once it's out of standard.
In my mind, this is right at that price point of 3 months after a set has come out. There's more hype for Guilds of Ravnica. And so I would start going back and looking, or this is 6 months. This is 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So we've already had Corset. We're getting into Ravnica. You've almost forgotten about Dominaria at this point. And this is a really good card.
Yeah, I like it. I wanted this card when it was 30. I wasn't going to buy it when it was 30, but I was hoping that it would come down, and now we're down.
Yep.
And we're talking about the regulars. They're not
regulars.
foils.
Yeah, I wouldn't go foils or anything at this point.
All right. Well, the card that we've been talking about before kind of foreshadowed to it with the Twitter and everything like that is Doom Whisperer. So it hasn't even come out yet. But pre-ordering this bad boy, just to give you an idea, earlier in the week I was looking at this card on TCG, and there were hundreds of copies.
Hundreds?
Hundreds. There's not going to be a lot of people that get that. But
it's a great bit.
Yeah, it is. But there were vendors that had like a few hundred in their inventory, and then I checked back the next day, and that was at like $10. Checked back the next day. Those were gone. Then it was up to $11, and then I was like, "Oh man, well, there's quite a few. There's like at least 10 to 15 vendors that had multiple copies at that price." So I was like, "All right, I got another day or two before I'll jump on this." And checked back yesterday, and those were all gone, and now it was at 12, and I was like, "Shit!" And there was only 17 vendors left. So I bought my copies. I threw it up on Twitter. Lowery bought a few copies for him.
We loved this card last episode.
We had magic boners about it.
Did you say Doom Whisperer?
I said Doom Whisperer.
Did you?
I think I did.
Dude Whisperer.
Doom Whisperer. Yeah, I said it because it's from the new. But if you need a reminder of that, we went crazy on this because it's 5-drop for a 6/6 flying trample. Plus, you can pay 2 life to surveil too.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I think this is going to hit 20 before this even comes out. Right now we're at $14.50. So yesterday it was at 12 or 13. So it's already gone up $1.50 today.
And I think when I said this last week, like I was just like, we should go and buy this right now.
Yeah,
it took us a week to get to it, but
we did
it was like I see this is good enough to be a $20 card. Solid,
right? And
this
then
is not standard card. This is just a really powerful, good card in my mind.
And I could see this after it comes out, 25, 30 plus. Like if it gets used, because now we have we have a rotating sets. 4 sets are gone,
and this comes out, and this is one of the more powerful cards that's going to be in standard, obviously.
And you have this new mechanic with surveil, so using your graveyard and all that stuff. This is going to be a card that people are going to want to use. So I think this could hit 25, 30 or more right after the set comes out.
I can easily see that, yeah.
Go pick this. If you haven't picked it up, and like I said, if you follow us on Twitter, you would have known probably $4 cheaper by the time you actually hear this podcast. So, all right, Larry, next card.
I'm going to go with Foil of Nevermore, which is an enchantment from 1 colorless, 2 white. As Nevermore enters the battlefield, name a non-land card. That card cannot be
cast.
So, number 1, if you want to be a dickhead, you just say somebody else's commander. But number 2, this is pretty similar to Meddling Mage, which jumped up to be a $25 card. right now the foil's it's from Innistrad, and the foil's sitting under $4. It hasn't really risen, but in my mind the power level is there, especially if you're going with like Meddling Mage on top of this, and like if you have some way to look at your opponent's hand. Generally, if I'm playing it, I'm playing discard as well. So
if you want to be douchey, is what Lowery's trying to say.
I'm looking more at modern, but if you're playing in Commander, you're just able to do it.
Pick a commander.
Somebody, again,
somebody that you know is about to win, or their deck goes off with
just like
combo up.
Mazarek.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Rashmi. Like, any commander that you really hate, like Animar. Like, I could keep doing.
Why do you just keep naming my decks? I don't get it.
They're the ones I hate. Because oftentimes they're just slow, and then I get out too far ahead. Everybody kills me, and then you're like, boop, 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 boop.
You're so good, Lowery.
That's how. Boop, 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 boop. No, I don't win. I never win. I just have fun.
I have fun. I like it. Yeah, a foil of that for under $4. I think that's pretty good. Where you're, like you said, up to 20. What the card that's similar to it.
Yeah, that's where I'm going off of. I'm looking at Meddling Mage and kind of going like, okay, this is a fairly similar card that you can.
Is that a $20 card in itself without the foil?
Correct. 20 and 25. It is.
That's the white blue, right?
White
that's
blue 2/2
flash.
when it comes into play. Does it?
Does he have flash? No.
Nope.
But yeah.
So, and it has 2 printings. It was in.
Wasn't it Shards of Alara?
That block, and then also Plane Shift.
Okay.
So, and this was a player rewards card. So like, a player won a tournament, and then he got the card name.
Oh, you know why that really went up though?
Humans,
yeah. So that's really why that went. But I mean, still a good card too.
Yep.
But
it was like a $15, $20 card when it was in standard. Dropped down. That's when I got mine, and now they're back up. A decade later. But they're
nice,
good cards.
Good investment.
Meh.
All right, my next card is Crucible Worlds, specifically core set
Foreshadowing
2019. Yes. So this card. Well, I gotta actually get my notes here of what I wrote on this card. But
he's serious.
But this card, when this card dropped basically a quarter of the price, or it's dropped down. It used to be a $70 card. Right now, you can get it for about $15. Not only that, it's in 13,000 EDH decks, and like I was talking about with Doom Whisper. The sets rotate. There's 4 sets rotating here. We have this new one, Guilds of Ravnica, that's dealing with a lot of graveyard with your surveil and everything like that. This is a good way.
Jumpstart.
Yeah, this is a good way to be able to bring back your land, because it really, your undergrowth just is determined on your creatures and all that, but you still can dump stuff in there.
Well, think about this. Like, let's say you jumpstart a card, have Crucible of Worlds, you jumpstart with a land, then you play that land from your graveyard, you lose nothing.
Right.
Like, that seems pretty good in my mind. Now, that's probably not where Standard's at all, because I don't pay attention to that shit.
Yeah.
but it seems like a decent way of doing it.
But yeah, so I mean, that, and then I was also thinking Ramanop Excavator is also rotating out as well. Mm-hmm. So you have that, you had 2 ways of doing it for the short 3 months here with core set.
Jumpstart wasn't going to be in there, but yeah.
But so now you have just this one card. So this is going to be a 4 of for any of those kind of decks that are actually maybe a 4, maybe a 3 of.
Land. Yeah, 3 of.
3 of, not a 4 of.
Because it doesn't stack.
Yeah, but still, even if we take out standard and all that, this we've said before when we were going through Core Set 2019. This is an awesome card for an EDH, and getting it at $17 when this card was over $70 before. Go get it, because I don't know what's going to happen once we get our new standard here, but this could jump just because of standard. If that happens, it's going to jump really high.
Yeah, no, this card is really good. If you don't have one, make sure you get one.
Yeah, and if you want to get some more money with it, buy a ton. It's $17.
So
it's harder. It's harder to make an investment, buy into something when they're that high. But this, I'm confident that that's going to get up past 40 easily. Back.
Yeah. So you see this doubling ish.
Yeah. At least
recovering.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Lowery, your last one.
So I am a player that really likes options. Dromoka's command. Green, white, colorless, instant, or not colorless, just green, white, instant. And it does a bunch of different things. I suggest a foil. It's sitting under $5 right now. It kind of does a lot of things. Like you can have 2 creatures fight, give a creature +1/+1. Player sacrifices an enchantment. You got a lot of different options. It's super cheap, and they get to choose 2. So it's kind of like Cryptic Command.
Yeah.
Not like it in any way, but you get to
like
choose 2. But it's a cheaper version of a command. It's really good, in my opinion. Now, the 2 that are more popular, Atarka's Command and Culligan's Command. That's Culligan's Command is like a $20 card.
Is that from Culligan Man?
Yeah.
Hey, Culligan Man.
I'm just guessing at the name. I can't look at it right now. But Dromoka's Command, I think, is probably the second or third best. I think it's probably better than Atarka's Command. So I would say go out and get at least a play set of foils.
Yeah, and you set the price, right?
Yeah, under $5.
Under $5.
In between 4 and 5.
Nice.
Been steady, but it's a really good card.
Yeah. Dig it. All right, my last one kind of deals with the same thing with Crucible Worlds. Same set. Go for your Scapeshifts because, once again, old Scapeshifts were over $50. There was only one printing, though, and it was an old, from Morningtide, I believe is what it was from originally. So that's an older set, but still, same thing. This is going to be in Standard as well. Getting this at $10 right now is pretty good. I would say you could go for foils potentially of this as well. I like the art in this one as well, better than the original Scapeshift. But your foils are sitting at 26, whereas if you're trying to buy Morningtide, regular ones are at 21, your non-foils. So I think both are a good bet with this. But this is also putting stuff into your graveyard, and if you're using it with Crucible, you're probably going to use it with Crucible Worlds, honestly.
Yeah.
So they'll kind of go hand in hand with those decks. So pick it up if you can, because it isn't used as much in EDH, but it's used in a lot of other formats too. So
yeah. I think it's a really cool card. I love it in landfall decks for EDH and all that stuff. Kind of closing out the Smith Spec thing, since we're not going to really do this style of Smith Spec for like basically a month. I would suggest, like as you saw kind of Adam do, go back and look at Core Set 2019, go back and look at Dominaria, probably Battle Bond. We've kind of harped on Battle Bond a little bit, but I had almost forgotten about Dominaria.
Yeah.
Go back. You got a bunch of good cards in both those sets. Kind of check them out as
because we're at that
Guilds
mark
of Ravnica hype.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so
yeah.
when you're getting into that hype, people forget and prices start dropping. And so that's kind of what you want to start keeping an eye on.
And then also keep an eye on what people are starting to play. I mean, that's what's also going to start happening too.
Yeah. Standard,
if you're looking to get some stuff that's spike right now, Standard we don't know where that's going to go. I mean, the pros know, or they probably have an idea of what they're going to do, but right now and we don't watch that.
yeah. I have no idea what Standard's really going to do at this point because I'm not that into it. Like maybe 3 months from now, when it's a little bit more of a stable meta, like I can probably project on where things are going. But right now, it's such a shakeup. Nobody really knows.
Right.
And they just know that Teferi is going to dominate for a little bit longer. So blue-white cards kind of start looking at that.
And that's why I kind of went for 2 cards besides the one that's about to come out, but the 2 cards that, even if they don't get used in Standard, these are still freaking good cards to have in your collection.
And that's something that I should actually sit down. I have one Scapeshift. I should sit down and get 3.
Yeah.
And I have 1 Crucible of Worlds. I should probably sit down and try and get 3 more. Try and get a play set of them.
Yeah. So that should do it for this week. We are actually long this week. Look at that. We're in the 120s. Woo!
Yeah.
So
I just committed to spending like $80 on cards. So
yeah, you did. You better
start out with
you better come
Scapeshift.
back from Germany and be $80 less rich, but with cards.
I'm going to have a lot less money than that, and I'm not going to have any cards. I plan on buying drinking a lot of monastery beer, and that's about it. Maybe I don't want to say sausage because you're gonna make a joke.
You're just gonna
laugh. All I said was sausage, and you laugh.
I know, because I knew where that was going.
Jesus,
right in Lowery's mouth.
No, I believe they have some good blood sausage there.
Yikes!
You got more excited about that than anything.
I did. I just pictured it. Everybody pictured it. right, we're gonna sign off because we got to start episode 34 after this, which you guys will hear in about 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
you guys have a good night, and we will talk to you later. See ya.
Bye.